6 words: exercise often, be curious, enjoy life. This morning I went out for a bike ride and I thought I'd give myself a challenge when I got back in, and that was to talk about some of the other exercises that I do, strength routine that I actually do. And I wanted to talk about it because there's a couple of reasons. The first one is that it's something that I'd let go for a little while, to be perfectly honest. And I realised as a man in my 60s that I really needed to get some strength exercise back in my life. A few reasons for that. As we age, we lose about 5% of our muscle mass for each decade. So over the last 3 or 4 decades, I've actually lost naturally quite a substantial amount of lean muscle. And there are a lot of things that I like to do. And in order to do them, I need to maintain my strength. So it was very important to me from that point of view. It's also important from a bone density point of view, a cardio point of view, a physical and mental health point of view to continue with my exercise. So I started a little program. It's a sample size of 1. It's just what I do. I do change through it regularly, but it works for me. And I just wanted to show you, give you a little sample of what that involves. I start off with some bigger compound exercises and I slowly work through to a series of isolated exercises, just working on a couple of different muscles each time I do them. But it's pretty quick to do. I superset them. I break them down into about 4 little groups. I superset them and I just sort of work through. So my other challenge was to do this in 1 take, so you'll have to excuse the quality of this to some degree. And I'm not going to go through every rep for every exercise because we don't have that much time, but I can still guarantee you by the time I get to the end, you're going to be going, hey, this guy's pretty breathless. So yeah, my heart rate will be up a little bit and I'll be breathing a little bit heavier. So let's get started. The first thing I do is a push-up. I started building up numbers of push-ups, but what I found was that my form would fall away as I fatigued. So now I've gone back to doing fewer push-ups and concentrating on the form and the quality of those push-ups. And I tend to do about 100 push-ups or just over 100 push-ups for each workout, and I break it down into 3 sets. So that's common with everything I do here. I'll break it down into 3 sets. So here we go. I start with some push-ups. Fairly conventional style, hands about shoulder width apart, down nice and low, and just bring them back up. Nice, slow, controlled pace. And I've got to acknowledge that I'm wearing my push-up challenge t-shirt. This is one of the things that I love to do every year. It's a great cause, suicide and mental health, and yeah, it's a great challenge as well to do the push-ups. So that's the first part of my superset, is to do the push-ups. The second thing that I do are squats. Now I started with a bodyweight squat, just coming down like this, knees over my toes. It's the way I've always been taught to do them. But nowadays I add some weights into that as well. And because my knees are actually in pretty good nick, I feel quite comfortable going down quite low. So I tend to do these, try to keep my form and, you know, work on stabilizing my legs and strengthening my knee joints. That's the second part. And the third part is a core exercise that I didn't realize until today when I looked it up. It's called a dead bug. So it goes something like this, and alternate an arm and a leg. And you can feel it stretching and strengthening the core. Alternate it to that side, like that. And what I tend to do is to work on about a dozen reps for each of these exercises. So that becomes my first set. My second set is a 1-arm row. I tend to use a kettlebell, a weight that by the time I get to the end of my set of 12, the last one's a little bit difficult. So good form, switch the core on and just raise it. So do a dozen of those, swap around to the other arm, And that becomes the first part of my second set. And the second part of it is a kettlebell swing. Now, this one really does get my heart rate up and my breathing going. So, strong core again. Start with knees bent like that. Pull back and up. Straightening up. Squeeze my glutes together. It's a good exercise. Gets the breathing going and my heart rate up. So I'll stop before I can't talk. And that's that part. And that becomes my second set. My third set, I go into an isolated exercise. So I'm just working with my arms, and it's a simple hammer curl. Good for the forearms, good for the biceps, brachialis. Yeah, just good for the arms. So one at a time. Whoops. Either one arm like that, and then the next arm, or alternating, which is really what I intended to do at the beginning. Like that. And that becomes my third set. My final set is a shoulder press with my kettlebell. So starting with it here, core on, raise it above my shoulder, like so, and then the other arm. And that becomes my strength workout, which I said I do probably every 2 to 3 days. Really supplements my cardio workout and hopefully keeps me healthy. So that's all I wanted to say today, other than exercise often, be curious and enjoy life. I'll talk to you again soon.